Hello, I'm Dane, and this is Dan Explains. It's that time of year again. Thanksgiving is less than a week away in the United States. A few years ago, I did a video on the real first Thanksgiving in the US, but it didn't really touch on the actual origins of why people celebrated Thanksgivings, or how we got the modern incarnation of the holiday today. Well, how did we get Thanksgiving? Let me explain. The modern holiday of Thanksgiving in the U.S. was instituted in 1863 with legislation supported by then-President Abraham Lincoln. Although the history is actually a bit more complicated than that. More on that in a minute. However, many people not from the U.S. may be familiar with their own country's Thanksgivings. The holiday itself is an idea that goes back 1,000 years, and at least our modern idea of it comes from Christian roots. A Thanksgiving Day, or as it used to be known as, Days of Prayer and Thanksgiving, are close to the same idea as a feast day in the Catholic Church, but different because they were usually impromptu declarations, either of a church, government, or a leader. They were traditionally set to be observed on a Thursday to coincide with the day of the Last Supper in the Gospels. They were usually observed to give thanks to God for some kind of success, hence the name Thanksgiving. That's why legend says pilgrims celebrated Thanksgiving upon landing at Plymouth Rock. Even earlier explorers also celebrated Thanksgivings on their expeditions. They would have a Thanksgiving celebration upon landing to give thanks to God for successfully reaching their destination. Other reasons to celebrate Thanksgiving Day would be things like bountiful harvests, victories, or an end to a war. The first national celebration of Thanksgiving Days in the US was to give thanks to a victory in war. The very first one in the fledgling US was proclaimed by the Continental Congress to be on December 18, 1777, a little more than a year after the Declaration of Independence, while the Revolutionary War was still underway. This was a one-off event. The Congress did declare several Thanksgiving days in the following years, however, usually on a Thursday near the end of November. After that, presidents would also occasionally declare a Thanksgiving Day. It was first made an official holiday of a U.S. state in the state of New Hampshire in 1815. By the governor of New Hampshire, Governor Plummer, to occur on the second Thursday in November. The next year, Massachusetts followed suit, placing the celebration on the last Thursday in November. It spread to other states in the Northeast from there, although in many cases the holiday was still impromptu, being declared by the governor of the particular state every year. Probably due to the differences in the economy and the milder climate of the South, the annual celebration of a Thanksgiving holiday did not reach there and stayed confined to the Northeast. This is until the Civil War and a woman named Sarah Josepha Hale. This woman is probably the most responsible for the annual Thanksgiving we celebrate in the US today. She was involved in a lot of things besides Thanksgiving. For instance, she wrote the nursery rhyme, Mary Had a Little Lamb. If I were purely a history channel, I could make a lot of videos on just her, but let me give you a quick overview because it's relevant. She was born Sarah Josepha Buell on October 24, 1788, in Newport, New Hampshire, where she was also raised. Like I mentioned, New Hampshire was the first state to institute Thanksgiving as a holiday. So, it's no surprise she advocated for it. She married David Hale on October 23, 1813, and they had 5 children before her husband's death in 1822. Boy, they were quick. After her husband's death, she never remarried and was known for being a conservative feminist, advocating for education for women and for the acceptance of women in the workplace. In that vein, she became the editor of Ladies Magazine in Boston after its owner read some of her poems. And the owner of Gaudy's Ladies book, Louis Anton Gaudy in Philadelphia, wanted to hire her so bad, he bought Ladies Magazine and merged it with Gaudy's Ladies book. This new job put her in a position to start getting noticed. After she moved to Philadelphia, and with the stability of the U.S. Union faltering as the U.S. headed towards the Civil War, she started to write periodicals to promote the idea of an annual national Thanksgiving holiday. Although she personally wrote to every president trying to convince them to create the holiday, none agreed. Eventually, Lincoln, who had read her periodicals on Thanksgiving, with the Civil War raging, agreed to push the legislation for a national Thanksgiving to occur on the last Thursday of November, 1863. The legislation passed. However, as it was written, it was still a one-off celebration, like it had been in previous declarations. But to help the nation heal from the Civil War, subsequent presidents kept declaring the holiday every year. This lasted all the way until Franklin Roosevelt, who in 1939 decided it should be the second to the last Thursday in November instead of the last one, to let shops advertise their Christmas goods earlier. Republicans derogatorily called it Franksgiving. In 1941, in an attempt to fix the issue, the Congress passed a bill to fix Thanksgiving to the last Thursday of November every year. It partially backfired. The U.S. Senate did not concur. The Senate passed an amendment to the bill which set it to the fourth Thursday in November, which meant in some years the holiday would fall on Thanksgiving, and on other years it would fall on Franksgiving. The House agreed to the amendment, and the bill was signed into law by Roosevelt, finally making Thanksgiving the fixed holiday we have today. So yeah, as U.S. holidays go, Thanksgiving is probably the one with the most sordid past. Happy Thanksgiving! And thank you for watching. If you like this video and other topics ranging from theology to science, please press the like button, subscribe to my channel, and ding the bell to get notified when I post new videos. Also, please support me on Patreon to get extra content and special perks. Link in the description. The more people support me, the more time I can dedicate to making videos like this one. So, until next time, have a great week and a happy Thanksgiving.